Today on Talk 365 TV, we are talking wellness with Green Horizon CBD oil and Trip gets Botox. Yep, we're covering his trip to AP Med Spa. All this and more coming at you right here, right now on Talk 365. Anything to say? Just
I
look
hope
pretty.
my hockey team is not watching. And welcome back to Talk 365 TV. Trip Mitchell, Holly Love. Fall is in the air, snow is coming.
Ugh.
But it is funny to find out how many, we talked about this last show, that a lot of guys get Botox.
A lot more than I think you think, and it's on the rise, which we'll talk about a lot more in the next segment. But
once you start, you have to stay.
Because you want to continue looking that way with all the compliments.
So comes to hair coloring is the same way, and this is natural.
Have you ever colored your hair?
Yes, when I was with Nola down in Vegas. She was a hairdresser, and she colored.
Yeah.
And the other thing, Robin Leach, who my worst boss ever, who I learned the most in TV, he just passed away. But
yeah.
Robin would not let talent go on the network unless you had it all.
Put
no
together.
gray,
Oh,
no gray
okay.
at all.
Wow, interesting.
And it's funny to watch an actor like George Clooney, who's at the top of the world, but his natural hair color is almost Anderson Cooper. It's very, very light, but for every role it changes. And
a little bit,
it used to be in the 60s, you didn't change your hair very much. You always left it dark, and you would never go gray for a movie.
Really?
Yeah, it was very, and
Gray
guys,
was an anti-thing.
and
like,
once you
don't go
started
there.
losing your hair, you had a hairpiece, and you would never get seen without it.
Uh-huh.
And now actors,
Natural, just be yourself. Character actors are really popular, would you say?
Obviously, 100 years ago, Yul Brynner was the first perfectly bald actor. And Michael Jordan for African Americans changed everything because he went bald and he was the coolest guy on the planet.
Well,
and then
George
Bruce
Clooney,
Willis.
Oh, yeah. I just watched Armageddon on Netflix. I think everyone in my generation was in love with Ben Affleck and Liv Tyler and Bruce Willis at the same time.
That was a great guilty pleasure.
But I have to be honest, looking back on it, I was like, whoa, Bruce really did kind of not have a whole lot of hair going on up top, but he's hot. He's a super hot guy. So he kind of brought that in. And then going back to George Clooney, because I think he's been gray a lot like Andy, probably since in his 20s, late 20s.
Well, he really wasn't.
On ER, he was pretty gray.
Was he really?
And you look back on his headshots and you check it out, it's kind of salt and peppery, at least. He's gotten much more white now, but definitely a little bit gray. When did you start going gray? How old were you?
Probably in my 50s.
Oh, okay.
So it didn't start till later, and then I got it colored in for the network. And, it's, first of all, guys, don't go for the stuff you buy that I normally would do, which is
At the store.
In the 99-cent aisle.
Nope. It turns your hair green and bad colors.
And it really
learned that
does.
the bad way.
And circling back to Bruce Willis, The Sixth Sense, Bruce Willis bet on the come. In other words, he didn't get a lot of money from the studio. He said, I believe in this movie, and M. Night Shyamalan had directed that would be a top 50 movie of all time for a lot of critics.
Yeah.
And it made so much money. And
It
Bruce
did so
Willis.
good. Do you remember watching that movie?
Oh, how great was that
Can
movie?
I tell you that I honestly didn't get out of my bed because of the dead people? I was like the little boy in the movie.
see dead people.
Like sitting there freezing and like, oh, I had to go potty, but didn't dare. It scared me for weeks.
So he is supposed to be, Jim Lewis, our mutual friend, the greatest attorney of all time, his wife Carol was on a trip somewhere, and Bruce Willis was there, and Carol and her friend were best friends with Bruce Willis and said he's the nicest guy.
Oh, nice. Don't you love to hear that? Good people, getting successful, nice people all around. I love that.
But you know how hard it is to be an actor.
It's a very, very hard game.
And he was nothing, and then moonlighting with Sybil Shepherd, who's supposed to be one of the worst people.
That would be a good remake TV show.
That would be a great one.
Yeah, they should redo Moonlighting. Okay, well, we'll continue discussing fall shows and important things of the day. Don't go anywhere because we'll be right back here on Talk 365 TV right after this.